Alex, go ahead.
Thank you,
and
Matt.
I'll keep going.
I understand you don't want to talk about sanctions, but to help us understand its scope, what is the ultimate goal, the targeted goal in it? Is it just to express your anger or to actually take away from their capability?
So I'm not going to really, you're right, I'm not going to discuss sanctions that we have not yet announced. You saw the president make the statement today that we are working with the G7 on sanctions, but our goal continues to be to hold Iran accountable, and they are one tool in our diplomatic arsenal. We'll continue to use them.
May I ask about Ukraine? Is it,
Sure. Or why don't we do this? Why don't we keep going and we'll come back to Ukraine? Yeah.
I have several questions on Iran and Lebanon. First, on Iran, why is the U.S. against Israel attacking their nuclear sites?
So we have made clear for some time that we do not want to see a full-blown regional escalation. Israel has a right to respond to what happened yesterday. It was an unprecedented action by Iran to launch nearly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel, a state-on-state attack, the likes of which we haven't seen directed against Israel from Iran. And so Israel, of course, has a response, and we are going to continue to discuss with them what that response might look like, but we don't want to see any action that would lead to a full-blown regional war.
And on Lebanon, are you talking to Israel to keep the airport open and not bombing it?
So I'm not going to talk about any specific site, but we have made clear to Israel that we do not want to see civilian infrastructure targeted. We don't want to see, obviously, civilian sites targeted. The airport is playing a crucial function in helping get American citizens out of Lebanon, as well as citizens of other countries who want to be able to leave, and we think it's important that the airport stay open for those purposes.
And did you understand from them the scope of their military operations in Lebanon and their goals or goals there?
So we have obviously had a number of conversations with them about that, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to speak to those conversations. Those are private consultations between our two countries. To the extent they want to publicly discuss their operations in Lebanon, I think it's appropriate for them to do so, but it wouldn't be appropriate for me to do so from here.
Is the ceasefire offer still on the table, or it's already?
We ultimately do want to see a ceasefire that leads to a diplomatic resolution. That has been, we have been clear that that's how we see this conflict ending. Now, we do support Israel's right to target members of Hezbollah, to target Hezbollah infrastructure, but yes, we do want to see a diplomatic resolution.
And my final question, do you trust the UNIFIL and the Lebanese army to implement the 1701 UN Security Council resolution in the future?
We do believe they are both very important actors for ensuring stability, for ensuring the full implementation of that resolution. Obviously, if you look at the long history since that resolution was adopted, we've seen Hezbollah refuse to comply with its obligations. And so we would call, again, as we have over many years, going back, predating this administration, for Hezbollah to pull back from the border, to comply with the requirements of 1701. And UNIFIL and the Lebanese Armed Forces play a very important role in ultimately implementing that resolution. I would just say, the only thing I would say is that we are in the middle of a dynamic situation right now. Obviously, for some years, you've seen this difficult situation where the LAF and UNIFIL were not fully able to enforce that resolution because of the presence of Hezbollah forces who just refused to fulfill their obligations. We are in a dynamic situation right now. It's hard to say how it's going to shake out, but look, ultimately, what we want to see is that resolution implemented.